So I got to see Anomalisa at Toronto Film Festival, and it was fantastic. As many of you already know, the director of this film, Charlie Kaufman, is not only my favorite screenwriter, but he also wrote and directed my second favorite film, Cinematography, New York, a film that I'm currently dissecting because of how complicatedly genius it is. Now with film festivals, I tend to decide which films I'm seeing based on who's involved in the production. So given the track record of Charlie Kaufman, the fact that this turned out to be my favorite from the film festival was no surprise. What did catch me off guard, however, was just how different Anomalisa is from Charlie Kaufman's previous films. In terms of the actual narrative, Anomalisa is probably the least complicated out of all of these. However, the intelligent choices that align the themes in this story ensure that there's no lack of interpretation. I mean, anyone who understands the definition of the word anomaly can likely see the purpose in this film being so unique in the first place. In a world where almost every film seems exactly the same, this one stands out in a refreshing way.
It seems to me like it's a circular problem, in that, people who make movies see things that do well, and then they continue to make those things because they continue to do well, and then that becomes this sort of cycle. And if that's what you're doing, if that's what you're making, then they have to be really, I think they have to be really conventional, because no one is going to spend that kind of money on something that they don't have a kind of a certainty that's going to do well. I think it sucks, I think it sucks for audiences. I think it sucks for filmmakers, and I think it's an unfortunate thing for our society, because I think people are not being fed anything that's substantial.
One of the most shining elements of this film is the animation. Despite this film being pretty contained in its scale, the cinematography was very impressive. There were quite a few shots that caught me off guard and had me thinking, wait a minute, this shot's been going on seamlessly for a while now. And in stop-motion animation, having to reshoot a shot could mean months of extra work. Having the camera follow the main character through small doors into different rooms in the building is not only impressive on a technical level, but it subconsciously adds legitimacy to the universe, making the location feel like it's a very real place. There's a particular shot where a character can be seen in the reflection of our main character's eyes, and I can't imagine how complicated that shot must have been to set up. I'm really hoping that there's a special feature on the Blu-ray release to help explain these things, because the animation is seriously impressive. With Charlie Kaufman having seemingly no experience in animation, this movie was co-directed by Duke Johnson. This is his first feature-length film, but his previous works include Moral Oral, a show that I'd highly recommend watching from the beginning, and one that I've been meaning to make a video on for quite some time. And by quite some time, I mean I am now learning that it's been over a year since I got those files on my computer for me to edit through. You can thank Cinematography, New York for that one, both metaphorically and literally, as that series has been taking up more time than anything else. Now, the animation in Anomalisa has quite the drastically different approach in comparison to Moral Oral. Where Moral Oral was quite cartoony, Anomalisa had a far more grounded approach. This is by far the most human stop-motion film I've ever seen. A lot of detail was placed on both vocal and physical character mannerisms, making these characters seem like very real people. Based on the design alone, there's a sense of realism and surrealism at the same time. The characters' eyes were more realistic than any animation I've seen, but at the same time, there's a consistent design choice that could not have been achieved in live action. Now, they haven't really released any images showing this, so I'm not gonna say what it is, but as soon as you see a character's face, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and that's a decision that not only keeps it stylized and unique, but it also keeps the aesthetics in line with the themes and underlying messages of the film. Once again, Charlie Kaufman has impressed me with his sense of purpose, with each decision being made like a puzzle piece that fits into the larger picture. Sure, the decision looks good on its own, but with the rest of the film in context, you can see how it fits. Now, I don't really want to go into detail over the plot and themes of this film, because not only would that be better suited when I have actual footage to work with, but I believe that the way the film itself unravels these ideas is the best way to go about learning them. So if you trust me when it comes to my recommendations, just take my word that this is not only a film I love, but it's a film that's been creeping its way into my thoughts since I've watched it. Even now, as I reflect on the movie while I'm recording this, I'm thinking of several more ways in which the story metaphorically relates to my own life. Suffice it to say, I cannot wait until I can see this film for a second time, because somehow, despite only having seen it once, it's already starting to grow on me. Now, there's been a bit of a debate in my head over the out of 10 rating rating for this film. When I came out of the theater, my only certainty was that it was no lower than an 8. When I wound up rating it on IMDb, I decided it deserves a 9. But now as I'm recording this and coming to terms with the implications that this film has on my life and the human experience, I would say we've got our first 10 out of 10 film of 2015. Just how it ranks with the other Charlie Kaufman films I've given a 10 is something that I'm going to have to decide after a second watch. But by God, he's done it again, so get hyped and see this one as soon as you can. Also, Charlie Kaufman and Duke Johnson were awesome enough to let me interview them at Toronto Film Festival, so if you wish to see that video, click right here. I can assure you that the fact that they let me interview them had absolutely zero bearing on the numerical rating I gave this film. As many of you already know, I don't just hand out these 10s like candy, and don't just take my word for it, as this film is already pretty critically acclaimed. Anyway, stay tuned for more Toronto Film Fest videos and Vancouver Film Fest videos over the next few weeks. Until then, you can just get hyped.